And the last session of the 8th Asia Media Summit. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming back, and now we are about to start the 8th session. This session is about creating a high-performance culture. As broadcasting companies reposition themselves to meet the demands of the digital world, it's imperative that they adopt a continuous learning and talent approach, one that creates and builds a high-performance culture. Are our capacity-building initiatives working? How can organizations best manage talent development programs, succession plans, and people engagement initiatives to retain top performers, foster a performance-driven culture, and drive business results? What are some of the best practices to allow the industry to benchmark? These are the questions we'll be attempting to answer in this session. Please welcome the chairperson for this afternoon, Ms. Nathalie Labaudet, who is the head International Training European Broadcasting Union EBU. She built a strategy and a brand, EBU Training, a knowledge marketplace. She's been an active producer of documentaries and works of fiction and has also produced radio programs for Radio Sweden. We talked about change in the previous session. She's changed her job 8 times, moved away from a comfort zone, not just once, but again and again. She's been a lawyer, a radio person, and has also served in so many other areas. She believes in performance values, exploring ways to perform your best, moving boundaries to the extreme, to move your organization in the right direction. That's Nathalie Labaudet. Over to you.
Thank you, Sharma, for your kind words. Dear delegates, dear friends, a very warm welcome to the last session of the Asia Media Summit. This is about performance. The panel will do its best, actually, to achieve a good and solid outcome. Performance of media professionals is a new concept, a new theme in the business culture and literature. Traditionally, performance is made for actors, dancers, singers, like the fantastic Vietnamese artist who performed for us last night during a beautiful show. Let me welcome all the panelists. They will explain and illustrate what is performance and how to deal within broadcast organizations. But so maybe 2. Anyway, so before I give the floor to each of the panelists, let me okay. So here are our panelists. I will introduce them a bit later on. So, a few introductory remarks. We believe in the panel we've been discussing yesterday to prepare the panel for you that the performance of an organization is based on the performance of the individuals, of each of your media professionals working for your station. And this being said, how do you drive the performance of a person? A good way to do it is to organize a performance management cycle, which comprises different steps. Yeah, thank you. a review of the past year's activities. You can discuss with your colleague, with your person whom you are in charge, what were the successes, the difficulties he had or she had during the past year. Another important thing is, how did the person perform with regard to the value of the organization? An important step is to define the goals for the year to come. And in order to achieve the goals, SMART objectives have to be achieved for the person, have to be defined. SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. So imagine you have received these objectives for the year to come. How do you know you are performing? How does your management know if you are performing? There is not one single answer, and the panel will come back to that throughout the discussions and presentations. But there is a first answer, which is you can set up performance measurement. And the advantages of performance measurements are manifold, like it helps to link daily actions to the strategies. It gives a direction to a company, an organization. It ensures a more balanced performance. It creates wider ownership and empowerment of the people. And you gain behavioral alignment. There are different kinds of performance measurements, such as result indicators that give an overview of past performance, and you have performance indicators that tell the staff and the management what to do and what to do to increase performance. And just to illustrate what it is, these are the EBU training KPIs. We do and deliver training, and we have 4 KPIs. The first is we have to have a customer satisfaction over 70%. We have to have an occupancy rate of 90%. We have to have a customer loyalty of 70%, and finally, a financial target. So let me introduce the panel, and the panel will go through all these ideas and further in order for all of you to get a better understanding of performance for media professionals. And we will start with Helmut Ozang from Deutsche Welle, who has a very interesting view on how to build the pillars of a learning organization. Helmut Ozang is the head of media development at Deutsche Welle Academy in Germany, and he has over 35 years of experience in journalism and 20 years in international media development. Helmut, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nazali. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And first, I would like to thank AIBD for inviting me to speak to this wonderful conference here today. Thank you very much. And this word of thanks goes in particular to the new director of AIBD, Liebe Hunyan. Thank you very much. Second, I would like to thank VOV, the host of this wonderful and great conference, Asia Media Summit number 8, here in Hanoi, for the wonderful preparation, the warm hospitality, and the just professional organization. So thank you very much, VOV. And third, I would like to add that it's very nice, and I'm really happy to speak to so many friends who are here sitting in this room, friends and partners of our and my personal work as a media developer, as trainer and consultant in the field of radio and television. And just to name those who are here, so it's like talking with friends, talking to friends. I would like to mention, of course, the Voice of Vietnam and Vietnam Television from this country, Vietnam. Lao National Radio, Lao National Television, sitting here, my friends are there. Bhutan Broadcasting, Radio Nepal, and the Association of Community Radio Broadcasters in Nepal. Mongolian National Broadcasting, MNB. Sri Lanka Broadcasting, Pakistan Broadcasting, RTA from Afghanistan, CCTV, CCI, and CNR, or China Central Television and China National Radio, China International Radio. So all partners and here in this room. So again, this makes me feel comfortable. This is what I would like to state first here. You make me feel comfortable and feel as a friend, and I feel like talking to friends and colleagues and face to face and not top down. Although I have to stand here. Sorry. Okay, mine is not technical, not really talking about the indicators, and as Natalie already said, it's a little bit a different perspective at performing and of the role of training and capacity building, and finally, ultimately, media development. So, what counts? How does this fit together? And I want to take you back a little bit in history first. It is about 3 weeks ago only. We are talking about the 1st of May, 2011. The place is Abbottabad in northern Pakistan. And the person is Sohaib Attar, Pakistani. And his Twitter name is really virtual. And this man is very, very busy on Twitter. And this particular night he tweets, okay, let me see. This is a screenshot of all the tweets that he was posting that particular night. So this night he starts tweeting, well, helicopter hovering over above Abbottabad at 1 a.m., a rare event. Minutes later, and obviously keeping an eye and an ear on what is going out there, Sohaib keeps on writing, "Go away, helicopter, before I take out my giant swatter." Sohaib, full awake that night, keeps on observing and listening, and soon tweets, "A huge window-shaking bang here in Abbottabad cantonment. I hope it's not the start of something nasty." And he keeps on writing. Well, it took quite some time until we all, the world public, came to learn what kind of thing happened that night in Abbottabad, and what kind of thing Sohaib happened to become witness of. He had no idea that what happened out there, and he had no idea that he was the first one to witness what happened out there, the shooting of Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden at the hands of a secret UN military mission. Why am I telling this? To me, this is like a clear example of how news can spread these days. From a short message on Twitter, a posting on Facebook, a short video taken with mobile phone put on YouTube. The point is, in our context here, what are the stages of news gathering, processing, and distribution these days? What is different now? What does this tell us broadcasters, and as broadcasting journalists? And what does this have to do with capacity building? Now, one young American lady observed and checked all the Twitter that were running that night, that day, and the days after. Stacy Higginbottom, and she published on a professional blog on New Media, GigaOM. This is a screenshot. She wrote. The summary of the results of her observations, and she said, and she calls it the 7 stages of news in a Twitter and Facebook era. And I want to briefly read out to you what she observed that night, the sequence of news. the 7 stages. First, excitement. These tweets quickly followed, expressing a tone of excitement and the thrill of being first to report potentially huge news. Uncertainty. Almost as fast as the news hit, the doubters came out, questioning whether the news was legitimate or not. Some were waiting for the news venue or their choice to weigh in, while others were waiting for the coming statement from the president. Third, searching for between wanting the news to be true and the fear of being wrong, folks turned either reverential in their love of Al Jazeera or the New York Times, or whoever was already reporting details, or scornful of those who might have been more cautious. 4, confirmation. The White House confirmed, and now the search for meaning, for data and tasteless jokes will begin in earnest. Next stage, jokes. Jokes, profits, and platitudes. Once confirmed, the platitudes, the jokes, and attempts to profit either via owning a domain, a Twitter identity, say hello to Ghost Osama, or the umpteenth joke about the birthers now asking for a long-form death certificate are free to escalate. Meanwhile, Google updates its maps to show the location where bin Laden was killed. Next stage, action. This is where Facebook and social media really shine. From tweets about people seeking more information from friends to those seeking to find out if others are meeting at ground zero by checking out a live webcam of the site, people now can learn about news and do something. Finally, real analysis. Not on Twitter, unless it's via a link to a blog or a newspaper. What insight on geopolitics can one really offer in 140 characters? That's the final question that Stacey Higginbottom asks at the end as a final conclusion of her observation. What insight on geopolitics can one really offer in 140 characters? I want to leave it at that and add a quote by a man that you might be familiar with, Neil Postman, media philosopher, media critic, who more than 10 years ago made this famous statement. And he refers to something which is called the wisdom hierarchy. And he mentions, the differences or the steps from information to knowledge to wisdom. And I would like to read out this quote, very famous, almost historical to you, because I believe this is still so much true. The problem to be solved in the 21st century is not how to move information, not the engineering of information. We solved that problem long ago. The problem is how to transform information into knowledge, and how to transform knowledge into wisdom. If we solve this problem, all the rest will take care of itself. It's always the other one. Now, if you look at these steps, information, then knowledge, then wisdom, and today we might add data, let's look at what's the difference, where's the difference, and why does this matter? Data, that's obtaining raw facts. Information, this is already giving meaning to obtain data. They are processed to be understood. And information already provides answers to the who, the what, the where, and the when. Knowledge is a step further. Knowledge is analyzing and synthesizing. It's the application of data and information. It answers the how questions, how something has happened. It offers context and deeper understanding, shows patterns of things. Finally, wisdom. What is wisdom in this context? Wisdom is evaluated understanding. What does this happening mean to me? What does it mean to others for the future? Wisdom is about why. Why do things happen? Wisdom is to allow for the proper use of data, information, and knowledge. And it is about principles. It's about moral and ethical considerations. Now I would like to introduce another hierarchy, 3 steps, the learning hierarchy. And you will see how this can be related to information, knowledge, and wisdom. And I will further move my thoughts and develop my thoughts from there. Learning normally, especially in organizations, and here we talk about organizations, happens in 3 forms. What we call first-order learning would be reactive, adaptive. You have to optimize, you want to optimize existing processes, improving skills. This is very much skills-oriented and skills-centered. And actually then modifying action. Second-order learning is more reflective. It's about improving strategies, processes, structures, and the organizational culture which is being rethought and redesigned. Third-order learning takes place when an organization learns how to learn and how to wanting to learn and how to structure the learning of the organization itself. The goal of third-order learning would be the learning organization. Now, I maintain that the 3 forms of learning correspond with wisdom hierarchy. First-order learning is about skills and tools. It is about improving performance, technical performance, how to do things. It is data and information. Second-order learning is about new processes. It's about workflows, structures. It is about application and implementation. It is understanding and increased knowledge. Third-order learning, then, is about the organization itself. It is about change and moving ahead, wanting to move ahead, about continuous learning. It's about options, thinking out of the box. It is the wisdom of permanent change. And these 3 forms of learning correspond again with wisdom hierarchy and with the 3 levels of interventions in media support. Training aims at the professional skills of individuals. Its objective is improved performance of the journalist, the manager, the engineer, and it hopes for a trickle down to the rest of the staff. This would be first-order learning. Capacity building, different. It aims at the capacity of the organization to find ways to improve their programs, their performance altogether as a station, their service, inclusive of training as one effort in human resource development, as one intervention only. This is second-order learning. Capacity development is one step further. It aims at the self-understanding of the media organization of being autonomous, sustainable, and permanently ready for change, making sense of their role in public and their service to civil society. This is third-order learning. Now, what I want to say here to conclude is that in media development, we have all 3. We have training, capacity building, and capacity development. We have first order, second order, and third order learning. And we should, in a holistic and we want in a holistic and comprehensive way, facilitate all steps of learning. And we at Deutsche Welle Academy, we try to facilitate all these 3 steps and make all this possible. Training and capacity building and capacity development. for a vibrant media industry that strives to provide information, knowledge, and wisdom on air, on screen, and online. Thank you very much. Okay.
Holistic view on how to combine the individual skills to the organization and to adaptation of the organization to the media landscape. Thank you so much. And we'll have a nice transition to Etienne Fiat. Etienne has a double casquette, as we say in French. He's both a diplomat and a high-ranking officer from the audiovisual industry. He's the managing director of CFI since 2008. And he started as a diplomat in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and he also worked in the audiovisual production as a managing director. So he joined, I think, CFI for good reasons. And Etienne is about to tell us the challenges provided by the new media and how this tackled the three levels that Helmut just explained to us. Etienne, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nathalie. Bonjour, good afternoon. I, of course, join my voice to all thanks addressed to AIBD and its director, Yang Binh Yuan, and also our host, Voice of Vietnam, for a wonderful organization of our conference. I would like to illustrate this idea of performance culture with what we, CFI, do to help broadcasters to match digital media challenges to promote development in Asia. After 2 days of high-level panels, I'm pretty sure all of you know why and how tomorrow media will be very, very different from yesterday media. And by the way, why we often call them new media. We all heard and took note of some words that may describe the key challenges ahead of broadcasters here in Asia as everywhere in the world. Flexibility, 24/7, non-linear availability, catch-up television, social networks, interactivity, diversity of platforms, worldwide offer, battle for attention, more and more intense, and a big question mark about revenue. I think we could summarize all these challenges in one sentence: traditional media have to become global to survive. And our assignment at CFI is simple: help them to do so. Now, why and how is CFI a natural partner for digital media migration in Asia? Before trying to answer this question, maybe a few words about CFI, just for the two people in the room who don't know us yet. CFI, Canal France International, you can see our logo on the billboards above me, is a French cooperation agency, legally a branch of France Télévisions and mostly funded by the French government, namely the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Our job is to support media development in emerging countries by providing them with French media expertise. We are a very small team, about 40 people in Paris, operating in around 80 countries each year. This means we don't have permanent trainers, but we always use experts who work full-time for French media. As an example, you heard yesterday a brilliant speech by Mr. David Bodbor, who is an executive at France Television and who can also be a trainer for CFI in the field of digital projects. Another point is that we don't have a catalogue of pre-formatted training sessions and that we strongly believe in a tailor-made approach always discussed and established with our partners in order to match exactly their needs and constraints. We also try to work in real-life situations, as for instance the production of a show or reports of big events like general elections or recently the Cannes Film Festival. This means we insist on selecting small groups of participants in order to be really efficient. Another aspect of importance is that we believe in a shared commitment with our partners, which includes a financial participation. In fact, I realized that these 5 rules of engagement, trainers actually working for media, tailor-made sessions, training situation, in situation, small groups, cost sharing, could define what CFI believes about high-performance culture in matter of transfer of skills. Now let's go back to new media and the new challenges they generate for broadcasters. I would say a traditional broadcaster confronted to new media has to deal with 5 main challenges: legal environment, business model, management and team building, production process and news gathering, multi-platform and non-linear scheduling. Some quick comments on each of these points. Legal environment. Regarding the ever-changing legal environment, benchmarking of what is happening in France and in Europe and how things are managed there could be very useful for politicians and regulatory bodies in Asia. CFI can arrange it for both media companies and administrations. For example, in 2008, in Egypt and Singapore, we set up symposiums where all the different actors had the opportunity to share ideas about legal and economic challenges of the new media. Business model. In the digital era, economic cards are reshuffled. As a consequence, the value chain of each media must adapt to the new reality of a worldwide multi-platform media with more competition on its traditional markets, but additional revenue opportunities on new platforms. This means broadcasters have to build up a new economic strategy and business plan based on 2 main questions: how to control the rights, how to generate revenue with new media. Our answer stays in a few words: short training seminars dedicated to top management and study trips in Europe. Management and team building. Media companies have to adapt, and we can facilitate this change. First step is bringing the management on board on why it is necessary to change. Second step will be working with the staff to elaborate why change and what their role will be in the change. That's exactly what we are currently doing with a large press group in Lebanon. And last December, we also organized that kind of advisory assignment here in Hanoi with our friends of VTV. Production process and news gathering. Contents, that's the heart of the matter. Everywhere in the world, television channels are or should be in search of new formats, new ways of writing, in order to integrate viewers' interactions in the production process. Speaking of new formats, I have 2 examples. Since 2010, CFI has been coaching 3 Arabic televisions in Jordan, in Morocco, and Palestine for the production of multimedia educational programs, innovating in the use of both television and internet at the same time. And right now in Vietnam, one of our trainers is working with a team of VTV on how to adapt reality TV formats for Vietnamese viewers. And as concerns news gathering, it's no use to insist on the impact of new media on how journalists should do their work today. CFI already provides specific training sessions on web journalism, as we have done and are presently doing in several Arabic countries, such as Morocco, Tunisia, and soon Egypt, all countries where, as you know, without bloggers and web journalists, recent history would probably have been quite different. Last item, multi-platform and non-linear scheduling. Being a director of programs is far more complex today than before. You must think of how to keep your traditional viewers and how to get additional ones through new platforms, all that in a fierce competitive environment. This topic being a major issue for broadcasters in Asia, we propose to AIBD to set up a special pre-summit workshop precisely on TV scheduling strategies and new media content. These 3 intense days have been very successful, and as a consequence, I'm very proud that VTV6 asked this morning one of our 2 experts, David Balboul again, is to share his experience with their proper teams. By the way, you may have noticed that this fellow David, who actually only stayed 5 days in Hanoi, has been successively involved in a workshop, in a plenary session speech, and is this last conference at VTV. Maybe that's also what we call high-performance culture at CFI. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Etienne. I think it was really interesting because you gave us 3 elements for high-performance culture. You gave us a direction. We will have to be flexible and global. You gave us the how, that is the real life, and the 5 rules that you explained to us. And you gave us also the what. And I think the 5 dimensions were really interesting about the legal issues which are key to our way of working. The business models, the production process, the multi-platform, and the management of team building. So thank you, Etienne, for shaping for us. I mean, we have a nice frame. And it's my great pleasure now to move to Anutai Udom-Silp. Anutai is the Director of Academic Institute of Public Media, Thai Public Broadcasting Service. He has a great experience and expertise. He has been a TV news anchor, program producer, a PR officer, international cooperation project manager, and spokesperson for the Ministry of Tourism. So we all go to Thailand next year, so be careful. And currently, he is also responsible for the launching of the Branding Thai PBS campaign 2011. Anutai, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Distinguished delegates of the AMS 2011, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all and Sawadee Krab. It is indeed my honor and pleasure to be among all of you at this very last session of the AMS 2011, but by no means the least, thanks to the organizer AIBD and our host VOV. We are now focusing on the high-performance culture of broadcasting organizations, and it is the issue of great importance to all of us in this highly competitive world of advanced and converging media technologies and digitization. As media professionals, we know so well that in order to serve the audience and to meet the expectations of our audience, we can't afford to do anything less than showing a high performance. We have discussed quite a lot since yesterday and also today in previous sessions about media landscape in which many new competitors, particularly the so-called new social media, have been emerging so quickly and many times quietly. And by the time we realize about their existence, they have already occupied the media landscape and become part of the daily life of most people in the world society. To keep broadcasting alive, attractive and competitive, high performance is a must. To create high performance culture for broadcasting organizations very much depends on various factors, circumstances, status, and the levels of the development of each organization. The well-established organizations may have already their performances presented at high standard, while new and young organizations like mine may have many more things to do to strive toward this objective. This afternoon, I have pleasure to refer to the Thai Public Broadcasting Service, or Thai PBS, where I work for, as a case in point. I hope this will provide a backdrop for further discussions and something to share with all of us here, old or young, new, big or small broadcasting organizations. Thai PBS was established in 2008. Of course, it is very young, only 3.5 years old. And since its inception, it has been following the universal value of public broadcasters in speaking to everyone as a citizen. While the basic task is to encourage access to and participation in public life, Thai PBS also strives to achieve some of the following objectives. Of course, there are many objectives, but these are just some of them. First of all, to encourage public awareness and participation in the building of a just and democratic society through bold and impartial reporting with public interest. To educate, inform, and entertain, like all the broadcasters, diverse sectors of the society, including the minorities and specific groups, with an aim of promoting participation and